Good day, traveller. Day 2 of the RPG A Day 2020 is entitled Change. And I'm going to use a phrase, editions change, for this video. That particular phrase comes to me from a D&D based documentary on YouTube that I watched about 10 years ago, and now and again drag it out because it's quite a good little view of the hobby. I say it's about 10 years old, and it basically follows 4 or 5 groups as they talk about D&D 4th edition. And one of the people in the video, she says that when 3rd edition changed to 4th, her viewpoint was, her viewpoint was, they're messing with my game. But at the end of the documentary, she's changed that view, and she's, editions change. And I think editions in hobby gaming is no different than the real world. In the real world, you're one of two people. You're either somebody that welcomes change and embraces it, or you are somebody like me who absolutely hates change. I like things to be the same. I don't like altering it. I hate when they change things at work, and I hate when they, when I don't know, people just try and change the situation. I felt uncomfortable in this recent pandemic, and right at the beginning, I was really affected because it was a huge change, and I don't like change. But role-playing games and tabletop war games have this thing where every so many years, because they're a company, and a company needs to keep making money, they throw out new editions. And 9 times out of 10 will have a knee-jerk reaction to a new edition. Usually because they change it too much. If you look at what I see as like D&D in its origins is 1st edition. I know it goes back a bit further than that, but 1st edition. I've got my 1st edition books. I think there's only 2 I'm missing from the collection now. But I could never, as much as I might like to at some point, I could never run that game again, simply because how badly 1st edition is worded. 2nd edition came along, and 2nd edition took those rules and it put them in the right order, shall we say. And it became a much more playable and readable rule set, but it didn't change the game. Not really. The mechanics were the same as it ever had been. And I remember when 3rd edition was announced, I was very much looking through an issue of Dragon where they were describing it, and I was horrified. AC goes up, there's no -10. Where's Thaco? All this sort of thing. And I was, but when I actually got it, I was, the first game I ever ran of 3rd edition was actually for 2 fellow role players, but they weren't D&D players. They liked other things. They weren't so keen on D&D, fantasy games. But they really enjoyed it, and I realised how great a system it was. 4th edition comes along, and I had the opportunity, as I was working in a game store at the time, to read the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I realised reading it that it wasn't for me. I have the same thing with 5th edition. 5th edition is not for me. Which is why when it changed to 4th, I moved to Pathfinder, because it was basically the same edition as 3rd. It was improved, but the game stayed the same. Pathfinder has now recently, changed to 2nd edition, and rather than have that knee-jerk reaction, I took a look at the book. I even borrowed it off a friend, and I read through it over a couple of days. It wasn't for me. And I think when you get new editions of games, you've got to make that decision, because, as the lady in that original video said, editions change. as long as you've got people that you can play with, which I suppose is the point of this, with your favourite edition, as I have. My friends are all up for still playing first edition Pathfinder. There's no reason why you should change. It's all about what you and your group are happy with. Nobody from Wizards of the Coast or Paizo or whoever is going to turn up on your door and say, "Oi, that's not the current rules, buy the new one." No, it's entirely up to you. You've found something that you enjoy, you've found something that you want to stick with, run with it. Editions change, but you don't have to. Enjoy. Till next time, take care. It's UK out. Good gaming.